Welcome to Hungary as we prepare for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. The teams are just making last-minute adjustments to their cars to accommodate for the damp conditions out on track ahead of today's practice session. And I tell you what, Anthony Davidson, I think we're going to have some fairly anxious drivers in the cars today, as the conditions have not been kind at all for today's session.
Well, sat in the garage, maybe, I suppose. I mean, you'd always rather a nice dry circuit to run on. But as soon as you venture out onto the track, then any lingering nerves get left behind. The moment you start to become anxious in these cars, you tend to tighten up and become too digital in your inputs. This can not only cost you lap time, but also, if you're unlucky, send you on a one-way trip to the wall.
Yes, hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode today here around Hungary, a very wet Hungary. Now, just whilst the practice programmes are going on in the background, I just want to say that over the next couple of weeks, these episodes will slow down a little bit because I'm going away, and I'm trying to get some done before I go away so then I can get them out, but I'm planning on doing about 2 or 3 a week, starting from next week and then the week after that, and then possibly the week after that. I don't know whether I'll be up to making any videos that week, but we'll just have to wait and see. But just thought I'd let you know that videos will be slowing down for the next couple of weeks because I'm going on holiday, but I will try and release some anyway, because I promise I will try and do that. Anyway, coming to the end of the practice programs now, and unfortunately failing the race strategy, but let's get into qualifying.
Good afternoon, race fans, and here we are again for qualifying at the Hungaroring. Who will have tuned the perfect setup for their car? We'll find out soon. So, could be a tasty one today then, Ants. We've got all the ingredients, that's for sure. Treacherous conditions, an ever-changing racetrack, and 1 or 2 cars just behind the pace setters who maybe, just maybe, fancy a bit of an upset after a good performance from them in free practice.
And the question has to be, of course, what is that circuit going to look like in 10 to 15 minutes from now? If you think the rain's going to get worse, then you have to be straight out when the lights go green to find whatever grip you can. But if it eases off, then you're better off waiting, saving the tyres, and going out at the perfect moment. The other thing that comes with these conditions? Traffic, and the lack of visibility that comes from sitting in the spray. It's going to be a constant problem, and I expect to see a lot of frustrated drivers with ruined laps out there today.
So here we are then on a soggy Saturday afternoon here in Hungary. Unfortunately it's heavy rain once again, so it's twice in a row now that we've had heavy rain. So coming across the line now to start our qualifying session. Coming back across the line again to finish this opening lap, which will put us in 9th provisionally, so hopefully we can improve on that. But unfortunately we've dropped down to 16th, and coming across the line to finish qualifying, where does that put us?
Okay, that's pretty disappointing, but we can turn it around.
18th place. So hopefully we can gain some positions off the start line.
The grid is all set then for the race tomorrow. But before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top 3, who are Vettel, Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. It's time to leave for now, but we'll be back tomorrow when the Grand Prix itself gets underway.
So I don't know if you noticed there, but McLaren are 8th and 10th. I mean, I know they can do quite well around here because it's not really a power circuit, but 8th and 10th in McLaren, that's actually quite good in the wet as well. So unfortunately we're in 18th and Carlos Sainz is 16th, but let's see what we can do in the race as I hand over to Crofty now to introduce you to the race.
We've seen some astonishing Grand Prix here over the years, haven't we? The drama of 2015 is a recent example. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. And judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Raikkonen, Jolyon Palmer and Perez, Van Dorn, Ricciardo, Alonso and Nico Hülkenberg, Verstappen, Massa, Kevin Magnussen and Grosjean, Ocon, Sainz, Pascal Wehrlein and a Toro Rosso. Stroll and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So here we are then on the grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's raining once again, but fortunately it's going to go dry. So luckily that's on our side. But as you can see, they're lowering the fuel load, obviously, because I'm going to be running in lean during the wet part of the race. That's what I meant to say. And starting the formation lap now. Just going to wait for quite a while now because we're quite far at the back of the grid as per usual. And we set off now on the formation lap to go and do our warm up and all the normal stuff. And hopefully we can have a good start to this Grand Prix. I hope, because I mean I know the Toro Rosso doesn't really feel that good around here. But as we go to 5 red lights now, we've got 4 lights. It's 5 lights. So let's count where we go here for the Hungarian Grand Prix. We've got off to a relatively good start. The Sauber next to me hasn't got off to a great start, and neither has Ocon either. But we're now driving down to turn 1, and could we possibly go down the inside of many drivers here? Yes, we can. Just about missing our teammate there, luckily. And we're now up into 9th place. So we've gained about 9 positions there in the first corner. So as we now just about missed Daniel Ricciardo as well, we dive it down the inside of the Red Bull and the McLaren as well. Van Dorn managing to stay up there quite well, to be fair to him. And now we are coming through here, and now we're in 8th place. Or is it? No, 7th actually, wow. I underestimated that. But as you can see here, I was struggling so hard with the car. The rear end, it was so tail happy. I mean, look at that. I just couldn't do anything. The amount of time I was losing during this race. The car was just all over the place. It looked sliding again. I was going as slow as I possibly could through the corners, and it was sliding everywhere. I think the setup that I was using was just awful. I don't know why I carried on using it, but here we are now coming through this corner, and again losing the back end and almost losing a place to Ricciardo there. As we are now coming around, we're going to go into the pit lane to pit some dry tyres, by the way. Lose the back end again. I mean, I was getting so frustrated during this race because I was constantly losing the back end. Literally every single. I mean, even going into the pit lane, I was losing the back end. I mean, come on. It was just so frustrating, constantly losing the back end. It was just all over the place, and it just really getting on my nerves. I just really had no answers for it. I tried changing the differential and everything, and it just wouldn't work. So I really don't know what was going on. We've not been jumped by Perez, luckily, so he was already in front of us. So luckily there, we're still behind Perez. And I'm sorry about the shadows on the ground, by the way. That's just the game engine being really weird. It's a known bug in the game, and I think they're going to fix it. But coming through the middle sector once again, losing the back end again, and it was just all over the place. I literally had no answers for it. I was trying my best to do something with it, but nothing was happening. And again, sliding through the last corner, not having the best of exits. And unfortunately, because DRS is now enabled, the Williams of Massa and the Red Bull of Ricciardo will have a go at us. Massa's gone. I mean, Massa is now gone. There's no chance of us getting him back. But we're still fighting with Ricciardo here. He's still on our outside. He's going to go round the outside of us. He locks up a little bit, I think. No, he doesn't. We push him out of the way, basically. And that's us still in P8. So luckily there, we're still in the points. So luckily there, we're sliding out the last corner once again. And unfortunately this time, I think Verstappen is going to get us this time. But unfortunately with Ricciardo, he still isn't going to get us. So Ricciardo has spent this entire time behind us, and he's still not going to get past us. So as he tries, I mean, fair play to him, he tries, but I'd still stick my nose in there as we stick it down the inside. And actually no, Ricciardo's going to get past us, is he? Oh, well, that's a turn up for the books. So he's finally got past us as we're now coming around the final corner once again. We've now got Sainz behind us, our teammate, who just glides past us with DRS, and he's now got past us and he's now into the points. So we're just falling backwards here. I mean, I know I'm on the medium tyres and I tried to go to the end, but they're all on super softs and I just don't know what was going on. But Sainz was locked up. What drama! And he's just gone straight on and I'm back into the points again. So I don't know whether that was the team telling him to do that. I mean, if it was, that would be hilarious. But we're now coming in for soft tyres because I just had enough of these mediums. They were all over the place. I mean, I was really wasn't comfortable on them whatsoever. And coming in now for a set of softs, basically, and hopefully we can have a better time of it on this part of the stint. It wasn't a planned pit stop, let's be honest, but you know, it really. I mean, I wasn't really going anywhere anyway. I was going backwards. But I really was not going anywhere in this Grand Prix. So I decided to pit. You know, have a little bit of a faith in my team and the tyres, and luckily we actually get out ahead of Sainz again. So we managed to jump him, but unfortunately, once again, the rear end was playing havoc. And because of that, I was going really slow, and Sainz got past me easily on the softs. And this time, he has actually gotten past me. Even though I'm sticking it in there, I can tell you he does get past me. So, yeah, not really the best Grand Prix so far. I mean, we're still going side by side with our teammate. So fair play to him here for holding it in. I mean, is he going to go down the? He's held it down the inside. I mean, fair play to him. I mean, the AI on this game, I've said it many times before. The AI on this game are much better than the previous AI. But we somehow spook him out of that corner, and he's now nowhere near us. So on the next lap now, he's again got the DRS. He's now coming down the inside, but he somehow loses it. I lose the back end once again, and Alonso comes from out of nowhere to somehow get 11th place or 12th place. Yeah, 11th. I really have no idea how he did that, but cutting on to lap 25 now, we've now got our teammate going around down our inside, and Grosjean just steamrolls past us, and Sainz makes contact with Grosjean. He locks up. We now go side by side with Romain Grosjean, and he unfortunately gives up the position, but he's going to come back at us now with the DRS. He's going to go down the inside into this hairpin. Is he going to get us? I mean, I'm going to stick it down the inside here, but unfortunately he's got us there, and we run wide because the rear end is all over the place. Hulkenberg goes into us. Magnussen comes out of nowhere, and Van Dorn tries to go down our outside, but I mean, we're all over the place now. I mean, Hulkenberg coming to the pit lane now, and unfortunately, guys, this is where it just sunk in that it was just not a very good race. Yeah, I am being lapped. I've been lapped. For the first time on any F1 game, on YouTube or off YouTube, I have been lapped by a car. Or by a leader. But coming around this chicane now, we lose the back end once again. We've lost it. We've gone into the wall. And that's the end of our race. Unfortunately, that's the end of our race, guys. So it was going to happen eventually. The rear end was just all over the place the entire race. And yeah, unfortunately, we end with a retirement from the Hungarian Grand Prix with this crash.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres. But at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else. And that's exactly what they had today.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Kimi Räikkönen takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after that excellent result. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Let's give it to Esteban Ocon. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Ferrari move to the top of the table. Meanwhile, Renault move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. It was great having you with us for this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Until next time though, goodbye.
So as you can see then, we are one of 2 DNFers in this Grand Prix. We're still in 8th, luckily. Ricciardo is gradually getting back up there, but we're still in 8th, luckily. And Raikkonen is now extending his lead in the Drivers' Championship. So hopefully it'll be more competitive like it was in the last 2 races. But yeah, not really the best Grand Prix for myself there. The car was just all over the place. I think it was the setup, to be honest. I was using the wrong setup, and the rear end was just fishtailing at every single corner. I was going as slow as I can, and I was still losing the rear end. And yeah, that's really unfortunate. I'm really sorry, guys. But in the constructors, then Toro Rosso are still in 6th place, safely in 6th, and with Renault and McLaren actually getting equal on points now. So they're getting some points. Just need Sauber to get points now, and that'll be it. And Ferrari extending their lead in the constructors' championship. But if you did enjoy this episode, please leave a like and a comment. Once again, I'm sorry for the ending of this Grand Prix, but if you did, leave a like and a comment, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.